Okay, boys, with the hat today. So what we're going to talk about today is how through physical activities and physical work you can actually level up your discipline massively. Because we can say so much that work 12 hours a day on business on whatever. You're probably not as productive and as disciplined as you think. We really see your discipline level, for example, in physical activities when you need to go for longer, for harder, for more, right? And by the way, my name is Sebastian. I help young entrepreneurs to actually become disciplined, productive, and confident through the methods I've been using. I've been training for my mini marathon now, 10.5 kilometers, and also making my product. I finished it already, and I've managed to actually go from, if you watched my story on the other videos, I managed to go from a kind of low place, thinking I was disciplined and confident when in fact I was not, to actually having exponential results in discipline and confidence compared to the average person. So if you're interested, also first link in the description, you can book a coaching call with me and I can teach you my blueprint. Now, onto the video. Let me tell you, bro, some experiences in terms of physical work and physical activities that actually managed to boost my discipline up. But first of all, let's see let's understand what discipline actually is, right? And how, therefore, we can go from that and actually see how we grow it. Obviously, discipline is doing a hard thing you don't feel like doing, but you still do it. So, of course, with a reason, either because you want to improve your discipline or because you absolutely have to do that thing. Maybe you need to help your family members with something, or maybe you need to keep pushing for that, building that physique, or training for the marathon or mini marathon, and so on. And it's simple at the beginning perhaps, but then as you start running more, as you start going for more kilometers, as you start doing that thing for longer, it just gets harder. And then you just need to keep pushing yourself. That's how you improve discipline, by just not exposing yourself again to levels of this, to not just doing disciplinarian things, if that makes sense, but going that you already have managed to achieve or something, but actually going levels above constantly. You know how Andrew Huberman, maybe you watched this podcast with David Goggins, they talked about this muscle in the brain that when you do hard work that you don't feel like doing, it grows. But then if you do things that just don't feel as hard, or do that thing that it doesn't feel as hard because you don't put it as much work in, well, that muscle shrinks, becomes smaller. And likewise, your discipline level. Maybe it's not fully correlated just on that, because obviously we control ourselves. We have intention. We have the ability to choose what we pursue, what actions we take. But the thing is, you see, if you allow yourself, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. If you allow yourself constantly to just give yourself too many breaks or go lower than you actually are able to, well, obviously, that will reflect in other areas of your life, in your physique, in your productive work, of the tasks you're doing, maybe cold emails, maybe YouTube videos, maybe whatever you're focusing on online, perhaps, whatever you need discipline in, that will just get lower if you allow yourself this lower standard. You gotta constantly keep pushing and not just to the same level. Think about it. If I, for example, train for the mini marathon, right, 10.5 kilometers, I should not just. I thought, okay, I can run for quite some kilometers without stopping, no problem, good. For example, it was 5 when I actually did my PR some time before that. And I thought, okay, the race, or not the race, the mini marathon is the actual 10.5 kilometers. So I gotta make sure I am able to do 10.5. So I should not just stick to 5, but go levels above and go even further beyond to even more kilometers. And of course, as you run and as you do other things, you get stronger mentally and physically, and are able to push for more. So I increased my kilometers bit by bit, and then I thought, okay, I need to actually get on the track that for the, that will be on the mini marathon day, 29th of September, by the way, in 2024, and actually see if I can do it. And I went for it, and I went almost 10.5 kilometers, I think around 10 kilometers, or at least almost that, without pretty much stopping. Now, fair enough, it was traffic lights and all that. At the event, there won't be, because at the event we actually run on the street itself, no cars, no nothing. But back then, obviously, I needed to stop a bit. But in terms of discipline, as for keeping to push, to keep push, you get the point. To keep pushing, basically no stop. And I just ran, I think in total 10 kilometers without needing to necessarily stop. Now then, a couple of hundreds of meters at the end, my heart was beating too fast. I needed to take a bit of a break, because I'd never done that before. So I thought, okay, I gotta be careful of my health also. But the thing is, I pushed myself, and I went from 5 to 10. Now, obviously, probably my capacity either way was way more than 5. It's just I was doing 5 because I hit my steps for the calories, and if I actually hit more, well, obviously, I would be burning too many calories, and with my cut, I gotta be careful, right? But anyway, that's besides the point. So what you gotta do is basically keep pushing yourself, not just the levels you are accustomed to, and not delude yourself into thinking you are actually disciplined. Are you actually? Because you might think, oh, 6 hours of work. Are you actually doing productive work? Are you actually doing what's required of you? Or are you doing just a bunch of tasks that are actually not important, that are actually are not good for your growth, for the business growth, and all that? Do you get the point? So you just go and actually do the stuff that requires the discipline, and you grow your discipline therefore, and you just keep going for more. And the physical work also, I was doing some physical work here at my grandparents. My uncle, basically, in the garden, he wants to how is correct to say, man, pave a path or whatever, create a mini somewhat narrow road for us to actually go easily through the garden, basically with cement or whatever, that kind of stuff. And I needed to go take I don't even know what it's called in English, but basically this thing, you're with one wheel, and you just take it with your hands both like this, and you just go and take, basically, we needed some sand, right? A bunch of sand. And I just kept filling it up, going to, near the house. And basically on the road we have this massive or somewhat amount of sand, let's say. I constantly filled it up again, that thing, and I just got it again in the garden. And my uncle was making, actual material, whatever, and you just putting it, aligning it to a certain level, whatever, and filling all that stuff with sand. It was not necessarily super hard, but it was somewhat, alright. You're just constantly going, basically, without a bit of rest, and you constantly just keep pushing. It was almost like a full body training, but just constantly. I needed, I was kind of ready for it either way, but yeah, it required some mental strength, to just keep pushing, and that either way increased my discipline. So thing is, when doing physical activities, maybe you won't do that, but let's say you run. I challenge you to do however much you can, basically without pretty much stopping. Now, obviously, the traffic lights, whatever, maybe you have that, but in general, try not to stop as you run. Not at full speed, but just, jogging, as Goggins, if you saw him, basically at that pace. And go however much you can. Set a goal. And fair enough, you might not be ready for it, you don't know, but perhaps. But see, push yourself. Because with these physical activities actually boost your mental strength and mental discipline and mental resilience massively. And then again, you got to constantly keep getting better. And it's not, you have perhaps this limiting belief, like, bro, like, something just tells us in our brain, like, oh, but how? Because, at a certain point, what else can you do, right? You think there's no options. There are options, bro. Trust me, all right? You can just keep going better, keep getting better and harder at the runs, the workouts. Actually go to failure, right? Actual go to failure, even more. Actually work without getting distracted. You right now are thinking, oh, I work so much. Guess what, bro? After some time, you're just scrolling on YouTube. You right now perhaps are on in the comments. What are you doing there, bro? Just put this on full screen and watch. And you perhaps right now should be working, but you just took a pause. And right now are procrastinating from your work. So thing is, keep pushing yourself in different activities, especially physical ones, for quite some time, for longer, right? Because with the run especially, you gotta keep that in. Do you realize how much time you need in the run to actually get all your energy out? You might go 30 minutes, 1 hour or something. You just still gotta keep going. It's hard and stuff. I remember when I was beginning to run, I think, for a lot longer without stopping. I think I did hear my grandparents on a, fair enough, it was also a hot day, so that made it even harder. But I did 5K barely, and my legs were hurting, and I felt like just giving up. But I told myself, I gotta keep going, I gotta keep going, and constantly tell yourself this stuff. You know, this quote from Wes Watson. I was constantly telling myself this quote from Wes Watson: take joy in not being pleased. Take joy in not being pleased, and get your worth from that. Self-worth comes from self-investment. Just constantly keep pushing. Plus, think about the fact that you don't have control all over yourself. How stupid that is. How annoying that is. Just use that. Just use that as fuel. Just, bro, I want to control myself. Maybe it's just because of my past, because my younger self was bullied in kindergarten or some dumb stuff, and I even tried to fight back but couldn't, right? Because he was outnumbered or some dumb stuff. But you get the point. We as young men with testosterone, we want to become better. We want to have self-control and just dominate in whatever field. I'm telling you what worked for me. And there's so many more teachings I have to teach you, bro. Literally, look on the channel, and if you want to, again, jump on the coaching call with me. I can teach you my blueprint on the stuff that really helped me to become a consistent individual. Not just apply these, but actually be consistent with doing that. And having massive results in confidence as well, and self-respect, productivity, physique as well, right? So if you're interested, the link is there. Remember, we're limitless because we never peak if we so choose to. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.